Black on Wakanda forever. Ha, 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 ha. Assalamualaikum. Okay, a few things. First of all, they told me I had 10 minutes, but I think that I'm old enough. I taught some of you grade school that I'm going to take a little bit of my elder privilege. I may take more than 10 minutes. A couple more, not too many. I timed myself, it was 12 and a half. Okay, okay. All right, so first of all, Jazakallah Aliyah Sharif. A lot of you may know me from social media, NBA Muslims, that highlight Native born American Muslim cultural products, including hip hop and artistry and everything like that, and authorship. And so I'm actually kind of changing it a little bit, and I am actually an author, not a hip hop artist, which kind of made me wonder when Aaliyah asked me to do this. I was like, are you sure you got the right label? I think you want somebody else. But she said, no, sister, read your craft. So I have a couple of things that I wanted to know how deep you wanted to go. Okay, you want it all the way deep? Okay. All right. Because I strongly believe in authorship, in writing books as a form of social commentary. And one of the things that I have found about Muslim authors that is greatly underappreciated is that it's rich in social commentary. A lot of Muslim authors want to express and share their life's experiences and social issues that are occurring. So right now I'm working on a romance novel. Yes, I do romance. All of them interracial. All the female love interests are African Americans. That's what I do. Okay? And so I try to infuse social commentary into my authorship. And so this is a book that I'm working on for DKP Publishing called Building on Broken Dreams. It's a second chance at love novel. The heroine, Miriam, is dark-skinned, and she was brought up in a predominantly Arab community and dogged out. And the book opens with her and her lover. That's why I asked you how deep you wanted to go. All right? And what happens between them, okay? So hopefully it'll give you a little taste of some of the things that can occur in Muslim communities, okay? Miriam closed her eyes and breathed in the crisp late fall breeze wafting over her. She held the balcony rail tighter. Oops, that's the wrong one. Oh, yeah. That's her and Adam. And Adam does not play. Okay, so you got to read the book for Adam. So, again, this one is called, this is the chapter, You Said You Loved Me. Alhamdulillah. Miriam closed her eyes, pulled at the pin of her khimar, and let in some of the merciful breeze underneath. She reveled in the relief it offered from the humidity. It is one of the advantages of living on the south shore of Long Island, New York. While people at the middle of the island suburbs sweltered in the summer heat, those on its edges got some reprieve, especially after sunset. She lived with her family on the East End, which extended further into the cool waters of the Atlantic. For a Muslim woman covered head to toe, the refreshing wind made the heat bearable. The smell of the sea wafted up her nose, helping to soothe her frazzled nerves despite the depth of darkness surrounding her and the impending drama filling her with dread. The smell harkened to the familiarity of her childhood and a time when things were far more stable and calm. She bent her slender neck and lifted the back of her headscarf to allow the cool stream to whisk away beads of sweat at its base. Things were going to be okay. They had to be. Miriam raised a hand to shield her eyes from the blaring light barreling towards her. Her flowing aqua skirt whipped around her ankles, brushing against her silver sandals. It was his favorite one. So was the china mush she made sure to dab behind her ears. Everything she wore was painstakingly selected so she looked her absolute best when she arrived. She needed more than anything to make him happy. The passenger side of the Mercedes screeched to a halt, inches from her. Royal blue in the daytime, the moonless night made the car appear pitch ebony, save the white and red lights beaming from its body. Miriam clenched the front of her flowing aqua khimar and peered into the blackness of the tinted windows. Her heart ratcheted up a notch. Assalamu alaikum. Only the hum of the engine answered her. He's still angry. I have to make things right. She tested the silver handle and slumped her shoulders. Rod, please. There were no cars in the parking stall surrounding her and the locked Mercedes. Only a tall, unlit brick building stood in the massive parking lot coated by night. The breeze stopped and humidity filled the stoic air. She was in the middle of an industrial area of similar structures, just as dark and remote from each other. Her car sat in the driveway 2 towns away. She never drove it to their rendezvous. It might be seen and start rumors. The earlier bus that brought her there was not coming. Nobody was. Assalamualaikum. I'm sorry. Please just let me in. The engine's purr quieted. The tightening in her chest eased at the sound of the clicking locks. She jumped in and closed the door. His square chin clenched and aquiline nose flaring, Rod sat behind the wheel, staring straight ahead. What do you want? He says other stuff, but I'm not going to do that to PG. His steely grip on the steering wheel turned his knuckles white. Versace cologne and new car smell freshener permeated the air. Miriam swallowed and laid her quivering hand on his. You've been back almost a week. I've been trying to get in contact with you. Rod threw off her hand and bore his gaze into her. You wanted to contact me, so you decided to go looking for me at my place of business? A cold, rough hand grabbed her jaw. Sniffing around, asking for me like some desperate tramp, he swung his door open and pushed out of the car. Miriam got out and looked over the roof. I didn't know what else to do, Rod. You won't answer my texts or calls. Why should I? Because we need to talk. Miriam rounded the front of the car. He was always the one to get in contact with her. She wasn't supposed to go around his home or where he worked. No one was supposed to know about them. But things were different. Rod stood with his arms folded, his muscles strained against every inch of fabric of the t-shirt tucked into his tight jeans. Really? We need to talk? About what? What's so important? Miriam stared at faded white linen lines reflecting the asphalt and then stepped closer. She wasn't sure she wanted the answers to her questions or was even ready to tell him what he needed to know, but it was too late to back out now. Well, for one thing, I heard that you got married while you were visiting your family in Egypt. Is that true? Rod let his arms fall to his side and shifted his eyes towards the empty night. Yes. Miriam blinked and tilted her head to snatch his gaze. Yes, you're married. His bearded face blurred behind tears welling in her eyes. No, we're supposed to be getting married. She spun on her saddle and walked towards the tall brick factory building. She stared up at its gigantic facade at the starlit sky. You told me you loved me, that you wanted to spend your life with me. Rod's feet... he was lying. Rod's feet made a shuffling sound. Well, that's not happening. Get over it. Miriam closed her eyes and let the tears stream down her cheeks. Had she imagined the past year? Rod pursued her as if she was his reason for breathing. He waited for her after work with flowers, gifts, and pledges of undying love. It was new and romantic for her and made it easy for him to manipulate the relationship. She soaked up the ardor and bought into his promises that they would build the perfect Muslim family. So what they were doing was okay. When she realized that it was unlikely that Rod was going to fulfill his promises, she was too deep in an affair. It might not be considered a big deal if she wasn't a Muslim woman seeking the pleasure of her Creator, but she was, and the gravity of her sins pinned her down in furtive inertia. She was stuck. Even the means to find a way out, sound counsel from her parents or imam, was inaccessible. How could she let them know what she'd done? Her once enamored suitor disoriented her moral compass with his fiery passion. Now he was cold and angry, as she didn't know which way to turn. I can't just stop feeling the way I do. I don't understand how you have. A wave of nausea rolled through her stomach. She flew a hand to her mouth, trying to hold down the little dinner she was able to eat. A few deep breaths later, she turned and stared at her lover's steely expression. We can still get married. Rod shifted his weight. No. I can be your second wife. She's desperate, y'all. No. Why not? Because even if I wanted two wives, there's no way my parents are going to agree to us marrying. Miriam wiped her cheeks. The reason for the clandestine nature of the relationship jagged in her mind. Normally, a Muslim man would ask a woman's wali for permission to openly court her for marriage. Rod couldn't do that with Miriam. His parents were pillars of the community, racist ones. Marriage to her was unthinkable, so he kept his intentions to wed her between them. You said you were going to convince them how wrong their thinking was, that the color of my skin shouldn't matter. It's not Islamic to deny marriage because of that. Rod flicked the key ring and pushed the car's remote start. Well, I couldn't. They won't tolerate it. They wanted me to marry a nice Egyptian girl, so I did. What about you, Rod? Do you think like them? Like some of the other Arabs in our community? Black girls are good enough to bed, but not marry, right? Did you ever intend on marrying me? He strutted to his car door. Does it matter what I think now? There'll be no wedding between us. Miriam squinted to see his tall, broad silhouette. Get in. I'll drop you off near your house. Stay away from me and move on. She folded her arms over her tender breasts and inhaled as much air as her lungs allowed. It's not as simple as that. I won't be going home alone. Rod stood between the car and open door. What are you talking about? He says other stuff. Her entire inside shook at his silence while her announcement absorbed his mind and reality. There were consequences for seduction that they were both about to face. No, he said, slamming the car door. He shook his head as he charged at her. No. Miriam braced herself and winced. Pain shot down her arms from his vice grip. Her head jostled back and forth as he jerked her like a rag doll. You're not pregnant. You're not pregnant. He shoved her backwards. She held the back of her head where it came into contact with the brick building. She finally told him. Her secret tore at her for 2 weeks. It was a relief that he knew. Now he could do what was needed for them to start their family. She panted and splayed her hand over her flat stomach. 5 weeks. It gets worse. Do you want me to stop? Stop? Do you want me to stop? Keep going? Okay. Okay, that's it? Okay.
Don't all me. Listen. I got a program to run. Come on now. Give it up for